All right, my name's Stephen Bishop. I work with NC State Extension with the NC FarmLink program, and we're glad to have all of y'all here with us today. We know spring is just around the corner, so this time of year, everybody is kind of thinking about their farms and what they're going to do for the growing season. So we wanted to be sure to make you aware of some different programs that we have through NC State Extension, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so, um, feel free to kind of put in the chat where you're from and what type of farm you have, or what type of farm you like to have one day. And hopefully, there'll be some resources that you'll learn about today that can help you in your farming pursuit. So, the way it's going to work today is we've got basically four presenters that are going to do a short overview of their different programs or resources here with NC State. And then after we do those short overviews, we're going to get into breakout rooms. So you can pick, which program or resource, which contact person you'd like to talk to, and maybe learn a little bit more about that program. So the first half of today's presentation is going to be just an overview of the programs, and then the second half will be the breakout rooms. So I think with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first presentation, which is going to be Hannah Dankbar with NC State and the Small Farm Boot Camp.
Hold on, folks. I am going to pull up. We might have to take out these breakout rooms. Sorry, I'm going to pull up our presentation here. Thank you for your patience. One second. Hannah, you can introduce yourself while I'm pulling this
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I was going to jump in while you're doing that. So, hey, everybody, I'm excited to be here. My name is Hannah Dinkbar. I'm the local food program manager for NC State Extension. I'm at the state level and work with all of our county extension offices across the state. And something that's come up a lot in the local food program is that there's been a lot of questions about both all like production, marketing, business planning for small scale farmers. So we've developed a suite of resources. So you're actually going to hear from me a couple times today about some opportunities. But what I want to start with are two classes that we have that focus on production and business planning. So these two programs are taught at the county extension offices. So they're offered at different times at different places. So I would say if any of these sound like something that fits your need, I recommend reaching out to your county extension office, which I'm hoping everybody knows where their office is. And if not, you can you could just Google North Carolina Cooperative Extension and click on your county, and you can find the address and phone number, as well as staff contacts there. So the first program I want to talk about is our Small Farm Boot Camp, or SFBC, as we sometimes abbreviate it as. This is a curriculum that's meant to provide foundational production training for anybody who's interested. This is a multi-module course. It's designed to be flexible both for extension agents and for farmers who are interested in taking the course. So it's sort of a choose your own adventure. But everybody goes through 5 core modules. So we talk about local food production and what it means to be a producer in a local food system and how to identify markets. And then we talk about soil health, integrated pest management, post-harvest and food safety, and then putting a plan to work. But in the middle of those core modules, we have these 3 tracks based on what people are interested in producing. So in our vegetable track, we have vegetable production as well as season extension modules. Our livestock track covers poultry, beef, pork, and small ruminant production. And then our fruit track covers tree fruit and small fruit. And then we have an additional cut flower module that we added this year based on demand. So again, these are taught at the extension office. Each module includes a 2-hour workshop all of them include some type of classroom work. So being inside, and then a lot of the modules include activities or field trips to supplement those. These classes are taught in a variety of ways. So you could just be at an extension office on like a Saturday for a few weeks in a row. A few of our agents have taught these classes online. Some have done a condensed version over a few days, so this can look pretty differently. But again, just like very foundational knowledge if you're new to your land or are branching out into new products. I hope this curriculum can be useful for you. And then we'll go to the next slide. If you feel like you have your production under control, we have a sister program called NC Farm School, which focuses primarily on business planning for aspiring new or transitioning farmers. And again, this curriculum includes some classroom work, and then you do get out in the field for like farm tours, seeing different types of marketplaces and things like that. In addition to the classroom content, you get one-on-one support from our specialist, Derek Washburn, to help you put together a business plan for your farm. So you do walk away with a document laying out the business plan for your specific operation. And then you also get this network of people who you're taking the classes with, who are in a similar spot as you, as well as other extension agents and specialists and other local farmers. Their programs for 2026 are currently all booked up. This is a pretty high demand program, but you can scan this QR code, or I believe in the follow-up to this webinar, we'll be sending out some links. There is a newsletter that will notify you of future offerings of this course. And as Kathleen mentioned, we are going to have some breakout rooms to discuss some of these different programs. I have, who actually is labeled as my Zoom twin here today, Meredith Favre, who has several years experience teaching our small farm bootcamp curriculum. So we will be available to answer questions or just hear your interest in these programs. And with that, I will pass it to whoever is next.
Hello. All right. You can advance to the first slide, Kathleen. My name's Cindy Knudsen, and y'all might not know, or you may, but North Carolina Cooperative Extension is made up of the two land-grant universities in North Carolina working together. Those two universities are North Carolina State University and North Carolina A&T State University. So the 1862 and 1890 land grants are a team, and we are North Carolina Cooperative Extension. So this map that I'm showing you in this slide is a new initiative that's been around a few years, but we are developing a network of regions that are covered by an area specialized agent specifically for small farms, small beginning farmers. They're broken down by color codes. You can see in the top right corner, that's the northeast part of North Carolina. That's me, Cindy Knudsen. I'm housed in Currituck County, and I cover the 8 counties up in that part of the state. Down to the south, the kind of greenish, maybe teal colored, kind of green. 8 counties down at the bottom. John Gerganis is also an area specialized agent specifically for small farms, covering those 8 or 9 counties. We are continually hiring more and more area specialized agents to help you with specific things in your region, because so much is impactful regionally, both weather, weather and climate, soils, crop populations, markets, and resources. So we're working together to share what's across the state, but also what's in your region. As area specialized agents, we work to put on regional programming, and we collaborate to put on state programming. We work very closely with the county offices and the county agents that you may already be familiar with to bring you the resources that you need as a small farm. Next slide. So I'm also going to tell you about a few specific, kind of what we'll call our annual events that we have with North Carolina A&T Cooperative Extension. This first one is Small Farms Week, and this year it'll be our 40th anniversary. So 40 years of Small Farms Week that's held the last full week of March each year at the North Carolina A&T State University Farm. We have a really nice pavilion, and the highlight of the week for me are the educational forums. We bring in specialists and other experts to talk to you about small farm topics. There's also a dinner celebrating the Small Farmer of the Year, and then also a kickoff event in the previous Small Farmer of the Year in their county. So that's a QR code to register, or you can reach out to your county extension office about registering for this event. It's a really good learning opportunity. Next slide. Some other annual small farm programs that are held each year. The Small Farms Field Day is held annually in June, once again at A&T's farm in Greensboro. The Ginger Field Day is also held there. We've done a lot of work over the years and continue to fine-tune ginger as a specialty crop for small growers. We've been doing for the last couple years a small farmer road trip. So it's an exciting couple days on a bus with other small farmers. We visit about 8 small farms on each of the tours. Last year, we went down to the southern part of the state and had a great time visiting 8 farms in that region. The year before, we were kind of in the central Piedmont. This year, we're looking at maybe going out west to the mountains. So just a good opportunity for you to see what other small farms are doing, how they're being sustainable, both environmentally and profitably, and a good opportunity to get some ideas and network. The Northeast North Carolina Niche Ag Conference is usually held in November of each year, bringing experts and regulators and legal specialists, everyone to come help you get started off right and understand your farm income taxes and sales taxes and all those wonderful topics like that. NC Tunnel Talks is a current webinar series we've been putting on this year. It's a year-round series that you can sign up for if you're interested in high tunnel production. And then we also have another program called Small Farm Leadership 360, which is it's kind of similar, but not the same as NC Farm School. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this. Next slide. So the Small Farm Leadership 360 has components of agribusiness planning, farm finances, farm taxes, markets, and market channels. It also has components of leadership and advocacy in agriculture. So many small beginning farmers can learn a lot about leadership in agriculture that helps them get started, making connections with organizations. It is a 2 to 3 day training modules. There's 4 of those modules, and it does require some travel, but most of your expenses are covered if you are interested in participating in this. Next slide. And applications are currently open for the 2026 cohort. The 2025 cohort is just wrapping up this weekend, as a matter of fact, and they'll be starting the group again. We have a maximum of 25 participants. You do have an application process and an interview, and you must be committed to doing a little bit of travel to get to the modules. We try and line them up with some other agricultural events that you might find interesting. If you are interested in signing up for this, for the Small Farm Leadership 360, you can contact Dr. Raymond Thomas. His email is there. You can scan the QR code or go to the website listed there. I think that's all I got. Yep.
Thanks, Cindy. Hey, everybody. I'm Kathleen Wood. I work for the Center for Environmental Farming Systems, and we're also a partnership of A&T, NC State, and North Carolina Department of Agriculture. And we do research and education and outreach specifically around sustainable agriculture. And we are the first sponsor of a registered apprenticeship for sustainable agriculture in the state of North Carolina. I'm going to share a little bit about that program. So what distinguishes a registered apprenticeship from an employment opportunity are these 5 components. And it is a training opportunity where folks who are learning farm management skills as part of our registered apprenticeship are very involved in the business. And that is that there is a farm mentor who is both the employer and the trainer. On-the-job training is the heart of this apprenticeship, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, as well as what we call related instruction. And that's just additional education that happens off-farm. The apprenticeship is organized around a skills list of 253 skills that farmers across the state of North Carolina identified as important for people to learn and become competent in if they want to be successful farm managers. And at the end of the apprenticeship, which is a 2-year commitment, 2 seasons, Apprentices are provided a certificate of completion that shows that they're a journey worker, which is to just describe that they're competent as in these farm management skills. So those are the components of a registered apprenticeship. So this on-the-job training are the employee apprentices are again employees of a host farm. So they are working at least 30 hours a week for 2 seasons on a crew to learn the skills in that farm list. And those are specifically farm management skills. So this apprenticeship is for folks who have had at least a year's experience in production agriculture or some kind of equivalent education and are ready to begin to learn more of the kind of farm management skills in their career trajectory towards being a farm manager. And that can be either for somebody or for themselves. That related instruction, in addition to working on a farm, apprentices are paid for taking either workshops, classes, going to conferences, and they have to take 216 of those related instruction hours. Those courses are tailored to the learning goals of the apprentice. They have to be taken in our core curriculum, but apprentices can choose which courses to take from approved providers. Those approved providers are nonprofits like Carolina Farm Stewardship Association and community colleges across those 2 seasons. And we, as the sponsor, also have a budget for apprentices to enroll in that related instruction. So I'll look forward to answering any of your questions about the registered apprenticeship in our breakout groups.
All right, thanks, Kathleen. So I'm going to round us out here with the presentations and talk a little bit now about NC FarmLink. And so let's go to the next slide. So NC FarmLink is a program of NC State Extension, and our goal is to try to connect farmers and landowners to farm transition resources. And so when we talk about farm transitions, usually what we're talking about is the transition from one generation to the next, or from one landowner to the next, or potentially from one operator to the next. So if you're renting out your farm. And so the reason that transitions are important is because they're kind of vulnerable times for farms, and there's a lot of things that can kind of pop up and throw a monkey wrench into the process and, have some very serious consequences. So we tend to work with two very different demographics. We work with a lot of younger farmers on land access and trying to find opportunities. We know in North Carolina that the price of land now is just skyrocketing, and so it's very difficult for young farmers to be able to afford to uh, buy farmland. And so we have some opportunities on our site where you can look for lease opportunities. And so we'll go to the next slide. And so one of the things we do offer is the a matching database. And so this is a site where landowners can post opportunities to maybe they're trying to sell their farm, maybe they're trying to rent their land out. So these are opportunities where young farmers can potentially find a property to lease or rent. So we have our matching database. I will say it's kind of a self-serve database. So you go and create a profile, and you want to make your profile as good as you possibly can because it's very competitive. There's lots of young farmers out there looking for opportunities. We do have a certified farm seeker designation. So if you have a background in agriculture, or if you have an ag degree, or you have a resume that demonstrates farming experience, then we can give you the certified farm seeker designation, which will boost you kind of up in the list in terms of the people that the landowners can see. And so once you create a profile, you can look at the different opportunities on our site and reach out to landowners. And it also works the opposite way too. Landowners can see your profile and then reach out to you. So one of the ways we try to help with NC Farm Link is to provide that missing link. So to help that farmer find a successor. Another thing that we also offer is just farm succession consultations. So if you're maybe you're a younger farmer and you are on a family farm and your parents of haven't really decided what they wanted to do in terms of a succession plan, we'd be glad to talk with them about succession planning. We do this a lot, so it's a good way to get started with succession planning, and we can kind of go over the basic strategies that most farms take. Another type of consultation that we do is a lease consultation. So we know just because the price of farmland, a lot of farmers have to rent or lease properties. And so this can be kind of a daunting process trying to figure out a lease. So we do provide lease consultations to both landowners and farmers. And so we can kind of help you think through some different clauses that you may want to put into a lease. Um, and so we also have some lease templates on our site. So we can send you some lease templates that you can use however you want to or adapt them to your situation. And then the final thing we do is just different workshops and seminars on succession planning and transition planning. A little later, towards the end, we have the farm succession, the NC Farm Succession School, and I'll show you a flyer for that towards the end of the workshop here today or webinar here today. But be on the lookout just at your local county offices. Would love to come speak to your local county office if you ever need a speaker about farm succession or transition issues as well. All right. And I think, oh yeah. So one thing that is kind of confusing. So when you'll Google NC Farm Link, we actually have two different websites. So this first website is our database. That is ncfarmlink.org. So when you go to that site, that's where you can see the different opportunities that are available uh, for young farmers to either lease or potentially buy. So you can go to that site and you can create a profile. And then also we have our NC State site, which is um, ncfarmlink.ces.ncsu.edu. And on this site, we have more of our educational resources. So we have our lease templates, and we have also just lots of other articles about farm transition issues on our site, and we have events and that type of thing. So that is kind of confusing. We have two different sites, but if you're looking for the database, it's very simple, ncfarmlink.org. And then the next slide, I think, is just our contact information. Again, we're a statewide program, so I cover the western part of the state. And then my colleague, Dr. Noah Rennells, he covers the eastern half of the state. So feel free to reach out to us individually too. And so I think that is pretty much the presentations that we had planned for you, and it looks like we're right on schedule. So I think the next step is we're going to try to set up some breakout rooms here. And so, Kathleen, do you want to explain how that works?
I'll jump in with that actually.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so we hopefully one of those programs caught your ear or something about that sounded useful for where you are with your farm journey. We are going to open up a few breakout rooms in just a minute here based on each of those presentations that you just heard. So you can meet with the person who manages that program and get more specific instructions about how you could plug into that program based on where you're at right now. So Kathleen is working on setting those up right now, and it looks like they are ready to open.
We're going to open those and we're just going to ask the program reps then to also select the room that you're labeled in.
Right. And for those of you who can't see, at the bottom of your screen, there should be like a more button, and a little pop-up should have just said join a breakout room.
Hi, could you give a brief overview again about what each of those, the program that they're for? I see the farm link, but then like the A&T, and I just need a brief overview again of what those are. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. We're coming back from breakout rooms, and we'll let folks join us here. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to have a second round of breakout rooms. As folks come out of those. We'll welcome them back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Great. I think most of us, we're going to bring some folks back. Great. Everybody should be back. So you're going to have a second opportunity now to meet with different folks and ask questions about these programs. Yeah, we've still got some folks in a room. There we go. All right. We're gonna open these rooms up here. Cindy with A&T. And so after this last round of breakout rooms, we've got some resources to share. So come on back and we'll share some events that are happening across the state for new and beginning farmers, as well as some just additional resources. All right. If you had trouble joining a room, I'm just going to stick around and help folks do that. So I'm going to open those rooms up and you can choose who you would like to meet next. And again, there's kind of 4 squares at the bottom of your screen where you can press breakout rooms and choose which breakout room to join. And I'm just going to stay here for a second in case anybody has some questions. Meredith, hey Meredith. Everybody's finding a room.
Okay, I have a quick question. Would you please just give a very brief overview of what CEFS and A&T are again?
Yeah, so the CEFS is the apprenticeship. It's a registered apprenticeship where folks are learning as employees of a farm. And A&T has a host of new and beginning farmer programs, including what's called their Farms 360 Leadership Program, which is like a 6-month classroom and farm-based program for participants. Does that help?
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, everybody, I'm going to join a breakout group. And if you would like to, we'll see you there.
Right, excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get to the breakout room. I had an emergency call that I had to take, and therefore I had to walk away.
That's
So
okay.
how do I get into the rooms? I would be interested in the one for AT&T.
AT&T, let me
AT&T.
put you, can I put you there, Jocelyn?
Sure.
Okay, you're gonna join Cindy, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else need to be zoomed into a breakout call? I'm happy to put you there. And you don't have to. You can just hang out here. All right. We'll see you in a bit. Hey, hey, welcome back. Everybody's coming back. You have been zoomed around today. Hopefully that you've landed well with the people in their rooms. Gonna let everybody come back. Looks like we're coming on back. Welcome back. Gonna just wait a second for everybody to rejoin us. Looks like there are some conversations that are wrapping up. And then Hannah and Stephen, as folks are coming back, Hannah and Stephen are going to be sharing some resources that we haven't presented on already, but hopefully will be supportive to you in this growing season as you're learning to grow.
All right. Are you able to share the screen again, Kathleen? Okay. All right. And so this is just kind of a summary chart of everything we just talked about, the presentations and you got to learn about in the breakout sessions. So, Small Farm Boot Camp is for new and aspiring farmers, and it's more for on-farm production. NC Farm Link is more for land access. NC Farm School is for aspiring and beginning farmers to try to find land access opportunities. And then the SEF's registered apprenticeships, those are for folks looking for, a career in farming or a very intensive education and production. And then our last one, I think it's kind of cut off here, but the area small farm agents, which is Cindy, those she's glad to reach out to you and give you individualized farming advice for your particular farm, and also has a lot of good programming too that they offer. Um, so let's see, we'll go to the next slide.
All right, and that is me. I was just responding to a question in the chat about getting a copy of that chart. And yes, resources will be sent out after this webinar. One additional resource I want to highlight that we haven't talked about yet is just a website. We realized a lot of our extension agents were getting a set of frequently asked questions from new and beginning farmers and small scale farmers across the state. So we came up with a list of some of those questions together and aggregated them all on one website. So if you're like me and Google every question that pops into your mind, we have an extension website that will start to answer some of your farming questions. From that menu, you can see some of the topics that we cover. Somewhere in this menu, we do cover like grants and funding your farm, which is I know is a really big topic. And then we dig into questions around like taxes, liability and insurance, different types of certifications for your products. We cover a wide variety of topics, and we also have a list of support organizations so you can help find other folks across the state to help you on your farming journey. So this is farmplanning.ces.ncsu.edu.
Okay, and so this is what Cindy was talking about, the NC Tunnel Talks, which is a webinar series on high tunnels. So if you're interested in that, feel free to scan that QR code or go to the website. And it looks like sessions are held the second Tuesday of each month. So that's an ongoing series.
We are recording those sessions, so if you sign up and have missed the first ones, just let me know and I'll send you the recordings of the first two that we've held.
And let's see, the final slide I think we have is just remember Small Farm Weeks is coming up. If you've never been to the A&T Educational Farm, it's a great place to go. They have a lot of great things there you can look at. So if you're interested in that, feel free to scan that QR code and see what type of events they have going on there. And that is coming up on March 22nd through the 28th. And then the final thing I wanted to just mention is the NC Farm Succession School. If any of y'all have a farm and you don't really know where to get started with succession planning or transition planning, This is a great training. It's all day training. It is $20, but it doesn't include lunch and it includes a workbook and several materials or handouts. And also, we'll have lawyers there, we'll have financial planners there. So it's a great training to go to, and it's in Concord, so in Cabarrus County. So that's coming up on March 31st. So that is it. So I think we're right on time. That's great. Just a few minutes here before 3 o'clock. One final thing I would like to do is just a quick evaluation. If you would, let me see if I can bring that up here. So, it's just a short four question evaluation. So if you wouldn't mind just answering these questions real quick, it helps us with reporting. And also, if any of y'all have any questions that you'd like to put into the chat while we're wrapping up, feel free to do that.
We really appreciate y'all being here. I'm going to drop my email in the chat. You'll also get it through these slides, but would love to hear from you if you have questions again about the apprenticeship and about the Center for Environmental Farming Systems. We are really grateful that you're growing food for our community members in North Carolina. So thank you for being interested in doing that work and doing that work.
And we'll also send out a follow-up email to everybody, hopefully with a link to the recording. And we'll send out a copy of that chart. I know one person asked about that, so we'll send that chart out. And just kind of a summary handout with some of the resources we talked about today. So if you don't have any other questions and you've filled out the evaluation, thanks again for attending. That's pretty much the presentation today. We're glad y'all came, and again, always feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh,